Welcome back, everyone, to the Astral Tourist Podcast. I hope you're ready for a hilarious ride, because today I've got some truly unpredictable astral adventures to share. These are some blasts from the past and some downright hilarious encounters from previous astral projections. Things get a little bit crazy as usual, so instead of jumping in, let's fly high. Well, the night kicked off with a series of brief but intriguing astral projections. The first thing I noticed was the sheer amount of energy buzzing around me. I found myself in a highly populated area with people moving in and out of my line of sight. Curious, I decided to start asking around about where I was. Now, if you've ever asked questions in the astral realm, you know the answers can vary wildly depending on who you ask. This night was no different. The first person I spoke to seemed friendly enough. When I asked him where we were, he thought for a moment and said, "We're in January 6th, 1791. Naturally, I was intrigued, but when I pressed him about the city or state, he hesitated and finally guessed it might be Philadelphia. I thanked him for the info and moved on, hoping to get a clearer answer from someone else. That's when things took an unexpected turn. The next person I spoke to wasn't quite as friendly, and this does happen sometimes in the astral. So, remember, you're the tourist, you're walking up to strangers while floating, flying, however you're doing it, and you don't know who you're going to be speaking with all the time. And I take those kinds of chances. So I asked him the usual questions. Where are we? Do you know anything about this place? Stuff like that. Telepathically, of course. He told me I wasn't asking the right questions. Naturally, I had to ask him what the right questions were. I was just being curious. Like, if I'm not asking the right ones, I really do want to know what I should be asking, because I was thinking at the time maybe he can share something with me. But instead, no, he was being a big cynic or something. I don't know. He had an attitude problem, but whatever. I do my best. And that did not go over well. He got angry and, wait for it, attacked me with a thumbtack. Yes, a thumbtack. I could see the thumbtack coming in towards me. He pointed the pointy bit right towards my left astral arm and poked my left astral arm with it. I mean, really? A thumbtack? I saw it coming, but I was still kind of just astounded he was being like this. I mean, I was very polite. I wasn't about to let it rattle me, though. I calmly told him those kinds of attacks don't work on me, and I wasn't about to tolerate any bullying. With a quick burst of energy, I drained him enough so he couldn't try again. His eyes got kind of big. That's what I saw. Like, he was kind of misty for a while. I don't know. The images are fleeting now because this is back in 2024. But I did take away and drain enough of his energy that he couldn't try something like that again. It felt like swatting away an annoying mosquito, kind of, and I don't like to do that, but I know I'm the one that approached him, so I was being as kind and gentle as I could, taking enough so that he couldn't attack me again in some other way. So I left him fairly paralyzed and kind of hanging there in the air. After that little encounter, I moved on because I'm a persistent tourist and I want to find out all of the information I can. And I found someone else to ask questions. This time, the man I spoke with was polite but didn't have an answer to my question. Instead, he kindly asked me to leave him alone, which of course I did. I mean, he was very polite. I was polite. He asked me to leave him alone. I left him alone. That's fine. As I floated further down the street, I came across a man with jet black hair. He had this air of lucidity about him that was hard to miss. When I asked him where we were, he seemed certain, We were in a dimension of Connecticut. I thought for a second and telepathically conveyed that I understood we were not in the physical dimension. He nodded in acknowledgement and floated off, leaving me to explore a bit. So this man was in the know that, we're not in the physical anymore, and he wanted to make sure I knew it, but he was trying to tell me in a gentle way. So I think this is a very thoughtful person. I like him. I can just tell that he was a pretty cool guy, and I would have loved to have been able to get to know him better. But I was exploring on my own again, and then things got even more interesting. I became lucid again and found myself in a strange, partially constructed house by the sea. The walls were made of seashells and sand, with cement block foundations exposed in places. It wasn't quite finished, but there was a peaceful energy about it. I heard someone in the distance, so I looked out the window. The view was breathtaking, a sunny afternoon with a beach in the distance. A few people floated lazily out there, but I was too tired to join them. Instead, I just soaked in the serene energy of the place, reflecting quietly and doing my remember everything that had happened before. But just when I thought the night couldn't surprise me more, I found myself at a circus. Yes, a circus, but not the kind you're used to. This one was unlike any I'd seen before. A kind woman had hired me to watch her back. So yes, this is an astral job gig. She hired me to watch her back while she performed, and I was wondering why she needed this, but I didn't ask too many questions. I was just like, I'm at a circus. This is a nice lady. Of course I'll help her out. She had this playful yet powerful energy that made her presence unforgettable. She really owned the space she was in, this lady. Oh my gosh, amazing woman. She started painting vibrant colors all over her astral form, gradually expanding until she was as large as a massive balloon. Then she adorned herself with shimmering jewels, creating one of the most colorful and striking sights I've ever witnessed in the astral. I guess this was the equivalent of her putting on her costume. She took her place on a beautifully decorated swing and nodded at me, signaling she was ready to begin. I quickly moved behind her to keep an eye on things, scanning the area with 360 vision no less for anything out of place. I was really ready to do my job. I was on fire, not really literally, just, ready and excited and happy to help her out. Everything seemed fine. I had all my astral spidey senses going. Nothing was wrong, so I stepped aside and let the performance begin. As soon as she swung into action, remember she's on that swing, the air around us crackled with intense energy, like rhythmic earthquakes pulsing through the atmosphere. This is no show like you've ever seen. I couldn't help but wonder what the show looked like from the front, but even though I was behind her, I could feel the power of the display. The very air felt alive with energy. And remember, I'm working here, so I couldn't really let myself get fully absorbed in the experience. And then something happened. She sent me a burst of energy, a gift for watching her back. It hit me like a powerful thunderstorm, filling my astral body with vitality and strength. It was intense but beautiful, and I could feel the energy swirling around me. When the performance ended, I woke up feeling electrified by the whole experience, a positive, uplifting way to end the evening after all the chaos earlier. It was a reminder that even in the most challenging moments, there are unexpected moments of beauty and connection waiting for us. So that's it for today's astral adventure. There's always something new waiting to be discovered. I can't wait to see what happens the next time I close my eyes and slip into the astral plane. Until then, keep exploring, asking questions. Just make sure they're the right ones, or not, as you prefer. And as always, stay curious. Thanks for listening, astral travelers and time jumpers. I will see you in the next dimension.